Greetings, my beloved Black people. Welcome back to the plight and struggle of Black people, excuse me, in America. Now, as you know, normally on Sundays, we have the Prominent Black People series. Now, today we're going to do something quite different because it turns out that we've reached the quarter season for the year. And in that quarter season, we were able to do 17 episodes. And what we're going to do is we're going to review those starting from the latest all the way back to the first one, which was sometimes in mid-March. So anyway, the last episode was 17th episode, and it was about Juneteenth and Father's Day being on the same day for the first time ever. It was unprecedented that those, or any actually, two significant days in this nation on a national level of importance fell on the same day. So that was rather interesting. Now, portions of this, when I review some of those episodes, I'll probably talk about some things relating to conversations that's been made in the public. Because, see, here at the Plight and Struggle of Black People in America, what our platform is about is laying out history of our Black people here in this nation and how it impacts and affects us now, and what the ultimate goal here is to unite Black people. Because we all know if Black people unite, then we'll be in the position to thrive rather than merely survive. Because we have all the resources to be a self-sufficient people as far as the tangible things, I guess you could say, because tangible is more physical, intangible is more of a mental, emotional, something like that. So bottom line, long story short, Black people need unity. Now, when we unite, that's when we will be utilizing our resources for our own well-being. And then that will help Black people collectively. Because, see, that's what it's supposed to be about. That's what it's actually about. When I say supposed to be about, because so many people are not either knowing it, not recognizing it, or not acknowledging it, or not living that way. You see, every people should be united to some degree with their own. Unfortunately, out of all the people that we know of, the least united among people in this society are Black people. However, with the track record in history and currently, how we're treated all the time, you would think we would be the most united people. So we know a lot of reasons why, different things like that. But the bottom line is us going forward, handling our business, uniting, like I said, for a collective situation of our people thriving rather than just merely surviving. Okay, with that said, okay, the 16th episode, it was a brother named Kenneth Everett. He's a math specialist. I was going to say a math teacher, but yeah, he's more than that. He has been that, but he's definitely a math specialist. This brother has a technique and training that he provides for children as young as 3, 4, and 5 to teach them algebra. And his website is called nopencilnopaper.com. And you can go there, and there's 3 free lessons, and you can check it out, see what it's like. But besides that, okay, my friend Kenneth Everett, he's a family man, 2 daughters, wife, all this good stuff. Now, I noticed in the world media, let's say that, I guess, in the football world, because I watch NFL football, and I like, okay, people will ask me a lot of times, what's your favorite team? Somebody asked me that just yesterday. And I'm like, well, a lot of times I go by individuals. Now, don't get me wrong, I always want the home team to do well. I mean, who wouldn't? Because when your home team is doing well, people are happier, friendlier, nicer, all of that good stuff. Well, yeah, of course, you want your home team to do well, no doubt. But as far as different individuals, I like this brother named Russell Wilson. Okay, yeah. And I don't remember who the guy was, another brother, and he plays football too professionally, but I don't remember what team he's on, what his name is, or none of that. All I know, he's a professional football player also, and he's a brother. He says something about the fact of, he says Russell Wilson is a square, okay? But not just saying that, it's something to the effect of, if though being a square is something negative or something bad or something not manly or something like that, where me personally, I don't see if there's nothing wrong with being square as far as I'm concerned. That's your choice. And I'm mentioning that because my buddy Kenneth Everett that teaches the algebra thing to the babies, he's a big square. And but that doesn't mean you're weak or a coward. Because if you listen to the piece he was interviewed on, you know, he laughed and joked all the time. And then he got to talking about how when he was coaching at the school and he had mentioned to his other coach about having to leave to go pick his daughter up from school. And his perception of the coach's response was that he had a problem with that. And then my buddy, he approached him and handled it properly, no doubt. My point is, okay, he's a square. They talk about Russell Wilson being a square. What's wrong with being a square? Nothing as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a square, but I'm not the hippest thing either, you see? So, hey, it is what it is. The main thing is, are you a good person? Do you have a good heart? Do you care about people? Do you care about others? Do you even love yourself? It's so many things, but yeah, I promise there's nothing wrong with being a square. Yeah. Okay, the next episode was episode 15. And it was titled Black Unity Time. It spoke about three prominent Black women, Fannie Lou Hamer, Shirley Chisholm, and Mary Seacole, which Mary Seacole was a sister that was born in Jamaica, landed in the UK, and did big things in the medical world. Okay. Episode 14, it was titled Black Woman Power or Black Women Power. And the guest, we had a guest that time, and it was Dr. Candace Lucas Bledsoe, who has a PhD in education, has a master's degree from SMU University and a bachelor's degree from Bell University. And she was the guest, and wow, she said some really interesting things. One that sticks out, well, there's two for sure, but one that I'm gonna mention first, I heard her say, when we operate within our gift, talking about Black people collectively, then we'll prosper from that. And I never heard it like that, operating within your gift. I think that's a good one. But the other one was, she said, I think it was like, let God surprise you, I think it was. And I never heard that like that either, which it was positive. It was all those good things. So you can check that episode out as well. That was episode 14. 13 was All for One and One for All, part of that Black people, prominent Black people series. And in that one, we spoke about brothers Nat Turner, Marcus Garvey, and Fred Hampton Sr., Fred Hampton Sr. And I know just off the top of my head, I remember the fact when I spoke on that situation of those three brothers, it was something to the effect of Fred Hampton Sr. Now, Fred Hampton Sr. is not the only Black man that loved Black people that they murdered. He wasn't the first or the last. But I'm really curious as to why is it that when you look up different brothers like Fred Hampton Sr., Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, brothers like that, and because they were murdered as well. Only when you look up Fred Hampton Sr., that's the only one where it says assassinated. even though they all were assassinated, they all were murdered. But why is that, I wonder? These people are pretty shrewd. They're cold. They have codes, I believe, amongst themselves that says different things that we don't know about. But I thought that was peculiar. Why would they say assassinated for him, but not the other brothers? I'm not sure. Well, I have no idea to know what the reason is, but it comes to my mind. Is it because the fact this was happened when they murdered the brother? They ended up giving his fiance, and she was pregnant at the time, his fiance and his unborn child, like 1.4 or $1.7 million or something like that, which I think was an admission of guilt. And so I wonder, is that why they say assassination? Because they actually had to give up some money for doing what they did, but yet nobody received criminal accusations by the judicial system. They did from the community because we know what things are. So, wow. It's sad and it's unfortunate, but Black people are not loved in the nation that we built. You feel me? So that ain't no good. But anyway, moving right along. The next episode was episode 12. It was capoeira. It's the African martial art that was developed in Brazil by Africans. Okay, apparently this is during the era when slavery was still going on, enslaved Africans landed many places, not just in the land of the United States where us Blacks here in these states, where we're the foundational Black Americans, where that's we're the descendants of those that were enslaved here from Africa. And like, for instance, which means like Obama and Kamala Harris, they're not those descendants of enslaved Black people. Okay, so they're not foundational Blacks like us because their parents were not of those that descend from enslaved Africans here in this country. Okay, now, the next one is episode 11. We had decided to discuss the Black Western movie that came out recently, Hard They Fall. I think it was a Netflix movie, if I'm not mistaken. And what the situation is, it's this brother out of the UK that he came up with this movie, directed it, wrote the screenplay, something else. And what I like about it, so many things, but a couple of things I like about it is that they purposely and pointedly did not use the N-word in this movie. And so that says to me they're thinking on some big scales of uniting Black people with the proper mindset of all for one and one for all. And if you check that movie out, The Harder They Fall, you'll see that it definitely is a Black people movie. And it's a Western, Black Western. It's a movie that I believe definitely, well, without question, you'll know yourself when you see it, Black people will enjoy it a lot more than Caucasians will. I put it to you like that. All right. Okay, the next episode we had, which was episode 10, we had a local brother named Mayhem the Mentor. Wow. He's the author and publisher of the book Black Massacres. Okay, Black Massacres is one of the Black history series books that this brother is authoring, writing. So anyway, Black Massacres, it's about 27 well-documented Black massacres in this country after the start of the Civil War. Now, I knew about Black Wall Street. I knew about Rosewood in Florida, which, if you don't know, Black Wall Street was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I knew about the situation in Philadelphia with the Move Group. I didn't know that was in that category, but I did know about that. Being from my hometown, for sure, I'm going to know what's happening in there. But this brother, there's 24 more, which makes a total 27 well-documented Black massacres in this nation, which is in several areas. And this is just the ones that are well-documented. Okay, surely, there's many times that we've been massacred and done so wrong in so many different ways. So this book, I believe, will galvanize our Black people that realize what's happening, where we are, where we need to be, which we need to be united. And what this book does for me, it shows me, even though I already knew, it shows me that, like Malcolm would say, these people never brought harm to us because of our personal preferences that we chose in life, like being a Muslim or Christian or not religious or atheist or this, that, or the other. They did these things to us because of us being Black people. Now, come on, how many things have to happen to us for us to realize, hey, if we don't unite, we'll never win the proper fight? Come on now, we got to wake up and handle our business, which we will, don't get me wrong. I'm talking and scolding, but I know we head in the right direction and we're doing things that we're handling business. But the thing is, unless you're participating, you won't know about this because the mainstream media is not going to show the things that will help Black people be the best that we need to be. We already know they don't love us. And I'm talking, I say they, this nation, every aspect that I see that's outside of us don't love us. But as long as we love ourselves, that's the answer. You see? We love ourselves. Won't we unite with ourselves? Of course we will. You see? So anyway, moving right along. Mayhem the Mentor, brother wrote that book. He's coming up with a few more, and I'm looking forward to those also. Okay, my ninth guest was a brother named Norman Dukes. Now, what's so cool about that? This brother, we grew up across the street from each other since like second grade in North Philadelphia. Now, this brother, his talk was about looking at and understanding the Black American mindset. Y'all to check that out. Say, I'm telling you, it's a joy and a pleasure knowing so many of your brothers and sisters that love ourselves, love our people, love our brethren. And we see, our goal is to make it where we're all for one and one for all, where no matter the level and status and category of our brothers and sisters, we're going to help them in the ways that they need the help, no matter what it is, mental, emotional, spiritually, financially. You see, we're on our way to that. And when it's being seen and it's obvious and we're doing it, then our other brothers and sisters that didn't realize it was happening, see that it is, and they can come on, jump on the bandwagon. We'll all just prosper together, collectively. Absolutely. Okay, the eighth episode, we had a brother named Lerone Armstrong. This brother, wow, this brother done a lot of things. He's done documentaries, he's done movies, he teaches, I think he was even teaching some type of dance, calypso or whatever. But anyway, when he was on the show, he talked about hip hop, the past and present, about hip hop presented by him. And one of his books that I have was this one. Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, that was Brother Lerone. He's from Dallas, Texas too. Yeah, and then week number 7, the topic was interracial politics. Now that the interracial part was at least twofold, because what the deal was too, largely and primarily, was that's when that sister Ketanji Brown Jackson had got confirmed for the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, so then I was doing the Black Prominent People series that week, and I decided to talk about Condoleezza Rice, Susan Rice, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. Now, Condoleezza Rice, she's a big-time Republican. Susan Rice, she's a big-time Democrat. And Ketanji Brown, big-time Democrat. So now what I thought was so interesting, perhaps even enlightening, okay, Condoleezza Rice, this big time Republican, they only had information about her dating experiences. I think it was far back to the 70s, and it turned out it was a brother that played for the Denver Broncos. Now, Susan Rice, she's had some big positions. She's been ambassador to the United Nations, hold big positions right now under Biden. And her husband was a Caucasian fellow born in Canada. Okay. I think it's like some kind of producer or something. I forget what that was. And then we have Ketanji Brown Jackson, the U.S. Supreme Court system. We all know that her husband is Caucasian. I think he's some type of medical doctor. Okay, so that was just one portion of the talk about interracial politics, but that wasn't the biggest and juiciest part about interracial politics. Now, what that was about the fact of okay, there's only been 3 Black people ever to reach it to the U.S. Supreme Court status, position, title. And what's so interesting, which we know the first one was Brother Thurgood Marshall. The second one was Clarence Thomas. You know, I didn't say brother. And then the third one is Sister Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? But then I realized through looking and thinking and observing, I'm like, is it a prerequisite that in order to reach the U.S. Supreme Court, if you're Black, that you have to be married to a person that's not Black to symbolize that there's no way that you're racially biased, your spouse is not Black? And I'm thinking, man, that's interesting, but that's the case. Every Black person that has been appointed to the United States Supreme Court and confirmed, none of them had a Black spouse that were Black like them. So, interesting, right? Anyway, the episode before that was episode 6, which was titled The Philadelphia 3. Now, as you know, especially if you know me, you know I'm born and raised in Philadelphia, North Philly. You know, I ain't going to just leave North out. And that's interesting. But anyway, born and raised in North Philly. But the thing about it, these Philadelphia 3, these are 3 prominent Black men that did big things in Philadelphia and helped a lot of people, including myself personally. So, and I say personally, I mean, they built the institutions and I benefited because it was there when I needed it. You know, not that I knew them personally. They gave me or my mom some money or help direct, nothing like that. Which is just as a matter of fact, the first fella is Reverend Leon Sullivan. And this brother, he created the institution of OIC, Opportunities Industrialization Centers. And he started in Philadelphia, and it ended up being a national and international institution. And what was so great for me, when I was 17, and I had applied for a BEOG grant, Basic Education Opportunity Grant, and I knew what it was. But the thing of it was, you apply for that to go to this trade school, and then they denied me, and they said because I wasn't registered to vote. But I graduated from high school at 17, so I wasn't 18, so you can't register to vote at 17. And I thought that was a terrible thing. But anyway, so I had to find a way to stay in school because I couldn't get in that school because of the denial. But I had to find a way to stay in school to keep those Social Security checks coming because my pop had died when I was 12. So when you have parents and a parent works and be responsible and pay taxes and this, that, and the other, and something happened to them, then that's a benefit that's there for their offspring and spouses, to where at that time they were saying that under those conditions, I would, as that person, that child, will receive Social Security benefits up to the age of 22 as long as I was in school full time. Okay. And unfortunately, when Reagan came in, right after I finished mine, he reduced that age from 22 to 19. So that was a terrible thing. So anyway, so that brother, Reverend Leon Sullivan, the institution he built and created, started it in Philadelphia, North Philly. When I needed it, it was there. Now, this is the thing, too. That school, OIC, supposedly you had to be 18 to go there. But I was 17. But since I did have a high school diploma, they let me in anyway. And therefore, I was set for those checks to keep coming, which was great. And then what did I do as soon as I turned 18? I registered to vote. I reapplied for the BEOG grant. I was granted it. I went to the school, which happened to be Thaddeus Stevens State School of Technology in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which I went there for a 2-year course in plumbing. And it was just like a college, except your major was a trade. Okay, you had all the academics, gym, not history. It was contemporary social problems. But anyway, gym, science, math, English, everything. But like I said, your trade was your major. And so I needed that institution to be there for me that our brother, Reverend Leon Sullivan, created. And what was interesting, the way it came to be to even create those institutions. Okay, this brother, he was originally from somewhere in Virginia. I think it might have been West Virginia. But he came to Philadelphia, I think like 27, something like that. But he had became a minister in Virginia at the age of 18. Anyway, though, long story short, this brother was dealing in politics, business, and everything else. And what the thing was this, there were many jobs available in Philadelphia, but the masses of Black people there didn't have the proper training for those jobs. And that's when this brother came up with the great idea that, okay, we'll create the institution that'll train the people, then you can go ahead and hire the people, and that's what that is, and that's what that was, and the rest is history. Say, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, now, and as a matter of fact, that's the brother that's over my shoulder, opposite of Fred Hampton. That's Reverend Leon Sullivan. Okay, now the brother under him, he's one of the Philadelphia three that I noted, which his name is Cecil B. Moore. Now this brother, he was an attorney, and what he was famous for was helping out the Black less fortunate. If I'm not mistaken, this brother was from Virginia also. I don't remember how he was when he came to Philadelphia, but anyway, he was an interesting fella for sure. And he dealt in the different organizations with the Black, bourgeois, whatever you want to call them. But what he did when he was around those type of Blacks, he ruffled their feathers on purpose, right? That type of thing. President of the Philadelphia NAACP and all that. But this brother, he made sure that those that were less fortunate amongst us Black people in the ghetto, where we were living and growing up, like giving them free counsel, because like a criminal lawyer and stuff like that, just about helping people. And when I grew up, it was 27th and Columbia Avenue. Now it's 27th and Cecil B. Moore Avenue, and the brother definitely deserved it. Fought for our people, love our people. As a matter of fact, that Gerard college situation, he led some teenagers on a boycott of that school because they weren't allowing Black people. And that brother, along with some younger brothers and sisters, which, you know, that's my passion, the younger people, working with them, which all of our people, no doubt, I love and have passion for them. But that brother did that. So, you know, our people do so many things to help, you know, each other. That's not going to be talked about in that way. It's not going to get talked about much. But, you know, that's why we need to know our own stories, our own history, and especially what's happening, has happened, is going to happen in this country. You know, Black people, foundational Black Americans. That's us. Now, the brother below Cecil B. Moore, right below him, which is Melvin Floyd. Now, this brother was born and raised in North Philly. Okay. It turned out, I found out when I was doing research on those brothers, he went to the same high school I went to, which was Benjamin Franklin High School, which was an all-male high school when I went. I graduated in 1977. It was still all-male then. It wasn't too long after that they did make it a co-ed school. We heard that our whole time there, but it never happened during our tenure. So anyway, this brother here, and he was I think he was the youngest of 5 children, like myself. But anyway, he ended up going to the military at one point, and it said something about due to something going on in his household, something like that. But anyway, he went to the Army, I think 3 years. And when he got out, he came back, he became a police officer. Now, while he was becoming a police officer, he started some type of ministry. And that ministry was to try to help stop the gang war that was going on in the city of Philadelphia. One thing I know he did, and I saw this with my own eyes, it was during my youth. It was a lady on our block, 1700 block of Taney Street, off of Columbia Avenue, named Miss Manning, lived right next door to Norman Dukes and them. And she, the one, I believe, brought him to our block. This brother came on our block with movie screen and everything. And back during that time, the epidemic of drug was heroin. It looked like it's full circle, and it is again from what I'm hearing. Anyway, so this brother had a film showing us some of the, I guess you'd call it, trials and tribulations of those that were on heroin. And it showed when they be shooting up and stuff, and then just so happened somebody OD'd, I guess. They put them in the car, drove to the hospital, dumped them in front of emergency, and took off. And which I don't even like needles with doctors. And this brother showing us that film, which I don't think I would ever went that route anyway, but he assured it for me. Ain't no way I was fool with none of that. So it's just great that we have, Black men and women that are so caring and concerned about the well-being and betterment of Black people collectively, that they do everything that they can to help us help ourselves. And I'm following their footsteps. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, now the 5th week was author Eric Johnson of the book The Switch Within. Okay, what we did, we had a conversation on topics that I had ran across on the internet back in 2014, as a matter of fact. Brother Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he had some topics on the internet that he titled something about topics, as a matter of fact, topics that help boys become men. But see, me, I don't believe in leaving any of the children out. Okay, so therefore, I modified it when I had it written, but no writing on this, just recording. And I added, and girls become ladies, you see. So anyway, I was able to present the topics on one episode. And then my good friend, Eric Johnson, author Eric Johnson, with the book, The Switch Within, and he has a podcast that comes on Sundays at 6:15 p.m. Central Time, Dallas, Texas time, which would be 7:15 Eastern Time. And anyway, so that was just a great thing. And after I had discussed the titles of the topics, like 20 of them, and then I read them to him, and then he would elaborate it in a way that a person could use it to maybe share with their children or their sibling or whoever that can maybe use some information that can guide them to help them make some decisions on their own, but at least have something to give them to think about as to what might be the best way to make the best decision, you see. So that's what that's all about. And that was pretty cool, and I appreciate Brother Eric Johnson doing that, because I couldn't have did it by myself, that's for sure. And then that 4th week before that, we had the Prominent Black People series again, who was discussion was about Mary McLeod Bethune and Ida B. Wells and Assata Shakur. Okay, I'm telling you, boy, if Black people knew how brilliant and resilient Black people are, have been, and I'm certain will be, we'd be united. But we're getting there. Don't think we're not. We are. Now just imagine Black people united, you know. different than us not being united. Now, it's going to be some tough decisions going to have to be made to get us united, but I believe we get there because a lot of times people just have to see the right thing or hear a certain thing in the proper perspective that they get the gist of it. Because see, at the end of the day, for Black people, the bottom line, it's about all for one and one for all, because just a few Black people doing well, that's nothing, okay? When Black people on a collective are doing the best that we can collectively, that's when we're doing something. But I promise you, my brothers and sisters, we're doing it as we're speaking, as we're sitting. It's happening, okay? But unless you're involved, you won't know it. But I'm just here to tell you about it. It's going on. Now, at some point, it's going to show. You see, because talking the talk is right now, and it's going on. Walking the walk, when that starts happening, then it'll be more visible. And that's when the brothers and sisters that hadn't seen it, maybe didn't believe it, can see it. Then they can come on and join and come aboard. And we can all join in that unification status and help our people help ourselves. That's what it's all about. Asada Shakur. What was so cool about this with Mary McLeod Bethune, Ida B. Wells, and Asada Shakur, out of those three, Asada Shakur is the only one that's still alive. And that's an interesting story if you know about her. And she's in Cuba. And I think she's been in Cuba since, I think, 1979, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, that's one of our warrior soldier sisters. It was some African queen. I forget her name, and I have a shirt. I wish I would have thought to make sure I know the quote. I don't remember it thoroughly, completely, but it says something to the effect of, if it's just one of us left with the right heart, the right mind, and write something else, he say the game is still on, something like that. And believe me, there's a lot of Black people that's with the right mindset and realize what we need collectively and are working on it. You know, they say it's about 41 million of us. There's a million of us working on it and making progress. Believe it. It's going to show, no doubt. You know. Anyway, so before that was episode 3, Arthur Eric Johnson again of The Switch Within. He began the first portion of responding to those topics to help boys become men and girls become ladies. Now, girls become ladies. What I thought was tricky about that was, okay, if you a girl, a child, you're born, you're a girl, you're a little girl. Certain things are based on just age only. At a certain age, they'll say like you're an adult, okay? So if you're a girl at a certain age, you a woman. Like no matter what type of female you decide to live like, okay, you're still a woman. Now, however, that same age, let's just say 21 for that one. If you 21, you grown, but based on different ways that you live, decisions that you make for your lifestyle, segments of this society, I'll put it that way, they will say, no, you are not a lady. They'll say, you're a woman, you're a female, they say, but no, you're not a lady. Anyway, that's the reason why I said girls and the ladies, because girl, woman, lady, you can be a woman and not be a lady. And I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. The next one is, which was the second episode. And that's when I was just mentioning the title of the topics. And then after that, that's when Brother Eric Johnson, author Eric Johnson of The Switch Within, helped me. And it took 2 episodes for him to finish those. We did 10 each time, I believe. And like I say, if you have offspring or some siblings that you think need something or could use something that would help them get some ideas and help them make decisions, because that's what it's about, trying to get them to make decisions that will give them a better chance of being successful in their lives, in their future. That's what it's all about. Now, down to the first episode. Now, this is interesting, very interesting in more ways than one. Originally, I thought that I was going to start the podcast with those topics. But what happened was I happened to notice, wait a minute, look like it's an affront on Black History Month, okay? Now, it's this fella, actor, Morgan Freeman. I think everybody know who he is, but it's some game with that situation. I've seen this fella on YouTube many times talking about being negative about Black History Month, like it's worthless, shouldn't happen, this, that, and the other, all that. Okay, but I've seen that before. But then I saw this brother Kanye West had something called, he called it Black Futures Month, okay? So I said, okay, what are you talking about? So I checked it out, checked out the whole thing. And what homie was talking about, he talking about, okay, the concept, I ain't got no problem with the concept. The concept is we leading our own way, making our own decisions, doing our own thing. Ain't got no problem with that. But then when homie want to say, and instead of being Black History Month, we call it Black Futures Month, say, oh, no, hold them up, homeboy, now. Now, see, it's some game now. See, the way it's happening right now on that, it's like, is he doing that on ignorance, not knowing, or is he part of some game trying to discredit or take what our brother, Carter G. Woodson, I'm sure worked hard to get to get Negro History Month to exist. And that's how we ended up with Black History Month. Now, this the thing. That's one of our major ancestors for sure, Carter G. Now, our ancestors, as far as I'm concerned, keep your hands off and don't touch them. And I don't care if you're black, white, no matter what color, you see. So, all I know, this is the fella talking it. Is it coming from his brain? Is he being guided by some other folks? Don't look like it. I don't know. And I don't even care. But when I see in the front on our ancestors, Carter G, shoot, that's how that first episode, it had to be about this affront on Black History Month, because an affront on Black History Month is a direct affront on Carter G. Woodson, one of our historical ancestors that lived and loved our people. This brother here, his parents were formerly slaves, okay? And this brother, Carter G. Woodson, he's the only child of former slaves that got a PhD from anywhere. And this brother, Carter G. Woodson, was the second black man to get a PhD from Harvard University, where W.B. Du Bois was the first black man to get it, type of thing. And then my thing is this. You're going to tell me this is accidental or coincidental? I ain't buying it. Because guess what? I'll be talking to black people all the time, all levels, ages, and all that. And I ask black people about Black History Month, about Carter G. Woodson. They don't even know the brother. That ain't good. You see what I'm saying? So, hey, we got to know our history. We got to know our people. And we got to protect them. And guess what? Protecting them, that's also saying protecting the things that they did for us and our people that made a difference. See, Carter G. Woodson knew that our people not really knowing that we have a great history. So he said, I'm going to do what I can do to make sure as many blacks as possible could get to know our story of greatness. Now, see, check this out. Now, this Negro History Week turned into Black History Month. Okay, Carter G. Woodson did Negro History Week 1926. Okay, 50 years later, what was going on, this country, United States of America, they were celebrating the bicentennial of, it was 1976, 50 years later. So they were celebrating the bicentennial, the freedom from the UK, okay? But in 1776, that they celebrating about, in 1776, black people were still enslaved, which meant, say, player, we don't have nothing to celebrate for no 1776. That's when the brothers took a stand and said, say what? We don't have nothing to celebrate with that because we were still enslaved. So the trade-off, y'all turned Negro History Week into Black History Month, and they did that. And then you have a joker want to come, I don't care who it is, and try to take away what our black men, women, children, everybody fought for our progress. Then you want to have a joker come and dismantle it just with a little conversation, just so he got some money. I don't care how much money you got. That matters not to me. You feel me? So anyway, that was the first episode that we had. We had 17 episodes. We've been doing it for 3 months. Looking forward to it. But yeah, this was happening too. I won't be back until like as far as with this platform, July 17th. Because I'm going to go to Philadelphia, my hometown, for 2 weeks, and we're gonna see what's happening. This platform won't be here, but I'll have my phone, and if something go down, which matter of fact, I'm trying to get in touch with different nonprofits that's in Philadelphia. There's one that I did get a chance to reach out to by calling and was able to leave a voicemail. And I let them know how long I'll be up there. My name, I'm born and raised in North Philly, been down here in Texas, doing things down here. And I want to see if they have some access to some children while I'm up there. And maybe we can even do a little recording. And I want to see, can we do some stuff? So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. And I'm always optimistic and positive, and knowing that black people loving each other is the answer to any of our cancer. And I'm talking about the cancer that eats us as a collective well-being, the betterment of the people that's doing us in. I mean, black people killing black people, that's ridiculous. So we're going to help stop that. I believe we're going to get it to stop. As far as stupid stuff on gang and this and that, it's so ridiculous. But I've seen brothers, don't get me wrong, brothers that have been in gangs that now are living a different life. Mayhem the Mentor is a perfect example. This brother was raised in Dallas. This brother at 18 years old went to prison. The brother did 17 years. When he went to prison at 18, the brother couldn't read. And when he was in school, before he went to prison, he was in special ed. And the brother taught himself how to read at the age of 22. Then he went on to get a couple of degrees and this and that and the other. So he's on a mission to help our youth definitely stay out of prison. And I'm on a mission with him. Anything to help our people, I'm with it. As a matter of fact, I just finished some training at the Henry Wade Juvenile Justice Center in Dallas, Texas, to get involved with the juvenile volunteering system. And I want to do some mentoring and motivational speaking. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, thank you, my brothers and my sisters. And we on our way. You feel me? Nothing but love with black people. Wow, wow, wow. I love my people. Wow, I love my people.